Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back here with part three of whatever this is, Black Mondays. I actually forgot to say in parts one and two, funny enough, that I'll blame the dyslexia. But on a serious note, I forgot to say um, normally Black Monday is seen as a negative thing. I think it's something where the market sort of crashed or something. And so I was thinking how in history, probably a lot of things were seen that are dark or black as were seen as negative, probably in more imperial times, colonial times. And I suppose imperialism probably had quite an arrogant attitude. I suppose even the word imperialism, I think, means arrogant. Certainly does to me anyway. But I'd love to know what you think about that. But I mean, some people might say when you think about weather, when it's nighttime, it's dark or whatever, so it's not really a reference to people's skin color. But I think a lot of things which were seen as dark or black were seen as negative in more race, racist or racialist, as the older generation would say. I had a neighbour of my grandma's who, a long time ago, I called him Uncle Terry, and he said, "Michael, you haven't experienced any racialism, have you?" So the older generations used to say racialism, and you can see it like Only Fools and Horses, a British sitcom for anyone who might be watching from overseas. On that note, please share this video with any members of the black community. But yeah, as I say, I think that a lot of things were seen like black or dark as a negative sort of thing. But I wonder if you think I'm reading too much into it, or if you do think there's some truth in that matter. Like Africa was seen as the dark in a negative sort of light, as in it had no light or hope or whatever, or certainly very little. Um, and some people probably still see it that way now. But yeah, so basically, I'm trying to see it as like Black Monday. So to support black-owned businesses, black people in modelling, the movie industry, the movie industry, music and movie industry. That was, and networking, supporting each other, helping each other, and other minority and people from other minorities. I often want to talk about like why I, as an AI Anglo-Indian, that is artificial intelligence, despite my quirkiness, but why I wish to support the black community as an Anglo-Indian mixed race guy, middle class Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians as mixed race. Um, but yeah, why I, from another minority, wish to support the black community and like from one minority to another, as I often say. But yeah, I think we should support each other. As I said in part two, like when you, there's a saying, I can't remember exactly how it goes, and I quoted it in part one, quoted it, paraphrased, but it was first they came for the Jewish people, or the Jews, and then I didn't help them because I wasn't Jewish. Then they came for black people, and I didn't help them because I wasn't black. Then whatever other group, and the list goes on. But when they came for my group, basically at the end, I didn't have anyone support me. So I think as a community, we support each other. And I know I mentioned Windrush as well. Like what happened to Windrush? What if something like that, heaven forbid, happens to Asians or mixed race people? We want black people to support us. So I think if we come together against white supremacy, I think it'll be a pretty cool thing, in my opinion. So that's why I, as an AI Anglo-Indian mixed race guy, and from one minority to another, wish to support the black community as well as the Asian communities, Asian community and whatnot. And yeah, encourage black people to network together as much as possible in Britain and all around the world. And but yeah, I was thinking of things like, for instance, the black market, which I think could be a play on words to support for black people to market and bring their goods to market and things like that. There could be the black directory, blacklisted, which normally is a negative thing, turn to a positive. It could be like blacklisted could be a directory of black-owned businesses for those who wish to support black-owned businesses. Anywho, on to the list. Sorry, that's a bit of a long intro again, but on to the list. Number 21. It would be great for black people to talk about their experiences throughout history and how and that kind of thing. Number 22. Sorry, it'd be great to see how things have changed over time and how they could change. What could happen for the black community? I was going to say the black people then, for black people, the black community and whatnot in the future. And I think if they network together, it could be a very bright future. And again, I think it'd be cool if they had things like the black market, which would be a place where they had a directory of black-owned businesses. Also, like helping black businesses to bring their goods to market. Blacklisted could be specifically a directory of black-owned businesses, possibly both on and offline, and seeing what they could do with that. And there could be lots of other things. I was also going to say point number 21, but I thought I went on to the intro a bit too long, so I thought I wanted to go through that point quite quickly. But as I mentioned in part two, point number 19 and 20, M.O.P. Or MOP or MOP would be a network, hopefully, for Black people in tech to learn how to program, code, and things like that, including from across Africa, Australasia, and around the world. And it would be great if they could support each other. I suppose with it being in tech, they could learn from each other online as well. And there could be like networks and websites where they support each other and learn lessons from each other and look at how to get a tech company to help them. On that note, number 23, I would love to look into how politicians, councillors, businesses, charities, NGOs, and other such organisations can support the Black community. Again, allies, people from other minorities included, and people who want to see those who have been historically oppressed empowered. I wonder if they get tax exemptions. Black people themselves who set up their own businesses, or just generally, I'd love to see Black people pay the lowest amount of taxes possible. That could be a form of reparations as close to zero as possible. That's supposed to be zero, by the way. And there could be like funding from the lottery and from the government as well. And also companies who employ Black people, for those Black people who might not be comfortable setting up their own businesses or whatnot, or doing their own thing. Those who are in employment or seek employment or are seeking employment, there could be tax exemptions or tax cuts for those companies employing members of the Black community, say in Britain or elsewhere. But again, I'd love to know what you think about each of these ideas, whether you think I'm being naive, whether you think there's some value in them, whether you think that they're good ideas or not, or whatnot, or what you think companies could do as well. I'd love to ask you questions like that. What do you think companies could do to support Black people? What do you think, and what do you think organisations could do generally to support Black people? And what do you think they could do to support their own community and each other as well, especially in October or Black History Month here in the UK and around the world perhaps? And what could Black British people learn from African Americans to empower themselves? What could they learn from each other and that kind of thing? Yeah, I think that covers everything for point number 23. I often say when it comes to religion, I don't know if I want to mention religion, but I was thinking maybe the Black community could say whichever religion or spiritual group supports our religion, our community the most, maybe that's the one they should follow. But anyway, that's just another idea or thought of mine. Number 24, I'd love to do that sort of thing internationally, like support Black people to and encourage them to network together. So Black British people, again, learning from African Americans and looking at what rights they have and what support they have, or maybe what support they lack, and what they could learn from each other, and what support they. So if African Americans have a certain thing that helps them, maybe Black British people could learn that thing, and if Black British people have something that helps them, maybe African Americans could learn that thing to help their community as well. So they could lobby to get similar sort of tax relief, tax incentives, tax cuts, and things like that to help their community as a form of reparations and things like that. But it'd be great, as I say, if they network together all around the world and learn about, taught each other about business and things like that. Number 25, I'd love to hear from Black people from different political parties, Republicans, Democrats, Conservatives, Labour, and everyone in between, and what political party they think helps them the most. And maybe, again, an incentive for political parties to support them, if they do support them, that they will return the favour by the Black vote. Here in the UK, there's a term called the brown pound. So yeah, maybe there could be something similar. Tomorrow I hope to talk about Black Pound Day, and then maybe there could be Black Business Day, Black Business Month, could be October as well, maybe, and things like that. So I meant to mention that in point number 24 perhaps, but anyway, as some Monday we'll mix up a bit. Number 26, again, I think there are a lot of I think there are a lot of reasons, that's what I'm looking for, I suppose, for reparations. I think if you look at like what happened in America with the Black Wall Street, what happened in the UK with the Windrush generation, and things that have happened in history against African countries and indigenous Australians, with slavery, colonisation, and things like that. The Aboriginals were nearly wiped out of Australia, and things like that. So I think there's a case for reparations. Again, I think that could come through tax losses. It could come through state support, the lottery funding, the National Lottery for Good campaigns and things like that. And companies like Virgin Enterprises, Microsoft and others, Fortune 500 companies even, getting tax exemptions, all sorts of different companies getting tax exemptions for employing black people. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my eye there. It's a bit strange, but anywho, I think I wrote my eye the wrong way. But anyway, moving on. Number 27, I think it'd be cool if there was an acknowledgement of those who have supported black people in those fields, in all sorts of different fields and areas. Number 28, again, I think it'd be cool if they encourage more black people in areas like modelling, the movie industry, the music industry, and basically to reach their dreams generally, and in tech, in business, and so all sorts of areas. I was thinking of things that begin with M, like Black Mondays, Black Market, things like and things like that. Or also they could be blacklisted. I know that doesn't begin with M, but which I talked before about, and I'm sure there are a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head. Number 29, I'd love to hear what people think about, like, where people who are part black and part who are mixed race and part black and part other, like people who are part black and part white, or Blasian, part black and part Asian, or whatever other mixes. In America, I suppose there's part black and part Native American. I'd love to hear what people think about where they fit in, and like what mixed race people think about Black History Month and empowerment and stuff like that. And also, even including my fellow Eurasians, Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians, Christangs and others, I'd love to know what they think about my fellow mutts all around the world think about Black history and Black empowerment. I think it'd be cool if as many people as possible support Black people in October and in America in February. And if they don't, it clearly means they're racist. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. So I'm just joking with that one. Just trying to have a bit of humour. But on a serious note, I think it would be cool if as many politicians, councillors, charities, NGOs, organisations, generally associations and whatnot, and individuals as well, and other minorities and potential allies and whatnot, of their own free back. I'm just joking about saying if they don't support, they're racist and that kind of thing. Sorry, my lame attempt at humour, but I think it would be cool if as many people as possible supported black-owned businesses, which reminds me of like please buy black, as in buy from black businesses, and please bank black. Although there are black-owned banks in America, but I don't know if there are many. I think I've only heard of one. I can't remember the name of it here in the UK. So it'd be cool to see what banks could also do to help the black community, and if black people could own their own banks even, and see what banks could do to help black people and the community as individuals and as a community to support their own community networks and set up their own businesses and things like that. And also on the subject of dyslexia, which I talked about this month, I've been talking about this month as well. It'll be interesting to hear from black people with dyslexia as well. I've not really read many books. You can probably tell, hence I can't even speak properly. But one of the few books I've read, is Black, Brilliant and Dyslexic. I think it's called Black, Brilliant and Dyslexic, or Brilliant, Black and Dyslexic. I get the order a bit wrong. Dyslexic, that is. So yeah, that's one of the few books I've read probably my whole life, actually, from cover to cover, and I thought it was quite interesting, giving experiences of black people with dyslexia. So I think that would be quite interesting to hear more of. Again, I'd love to interview black people and dyslexics, and especially those who are both black and dyslexic. And number 30, as ever, I'd love to know your thoughts on these ideas, my waffling, and what ideas do you have? I think I'll finish off on this point, or this question rather. What ideas do you have to support and empower the black community? And I am out. Peace and love.